Welcome to the Get Real Podcast, your high-octane boost of full-on reality therapy for personal, business, and investing success with your host, Ron Phillips, because somebody's got to tell it like it is.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Get Real Podcast. Ron Phillips, Heather Marchant here.
Man.
Shouldn't I have said, welcome back to the podcast, Ron Phillips? Or something like that?
Yeah, true. We had a couple episodes where we missed you. That's for sure. We, I guess, meaning me, because there's nobody else.
Well, I had a great time. I don't even remember if we told everybody I was leaving. I don't think we did.
No, we
I just
didn't.
bailed on everybody. I'm happy to be back. This is great. I missed doing the show and some stuff like that, but I'd love to say that I missed it while I was gone, but I honestly didn't think about it at all. So, first vacation in a long time since COVID, where I've actually completely shut out of work and actually been able to be gone. And it was nice. So Bobby Joe and I went to Europe for 24 days, and it was awesome. I think after 2 days, I don't think I ever thought about work again until the last day when I was coming back.
That's quite amazing to unplug for so long.
Yeah. And I unplugged from everything, which is really weird for me. I didn't work out.
Yeah, that is very weird for you.
The whole time I was there. I completely decompressed. Now my legs currently are really feeling the effects of that. I can tell you. It is brutal. Man, my legs, and I am, I lost a lot of strength while I was gone. But
that's really interesting, though. You did so much walking, right? So it's interesting that you'd feel it in your legs and not. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, completely different than walking.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things where people assume exercise is exercise. It's not. We walked miles every day. Most days we walked a lot, but it's not the same as lifting heavy weights. Your muscles it's just different. So
yeah, good point.
But man, it was great. And I encourage business owners to go I encourage everybody to do this because everybody needs a break. Now, granted, 24 days is a little extreme, but to be able to leave for even a weekend and completely unplug where no one bothers you. And I got to give an enormous amount of credit to you, Heather, and to the team. Everybody just stepped up and, Heather made decisions that,
I made a lot of decisions.
In her mouth.
I think a couple times I sent you a Marco Polo out of there's a lot going on over here. And it's really weird that you don't know any of it.
And I didn't really answer Heather, which is, she's
true.
probably sitting there
you
waiting
just said,
for me to.
I agree with all the decisions. And I was
just do your thing.
Breathe.
I'm good. But I got back and things were better than when I left. That is a testament to an amazing people on an amazing team, who know their job, know what they're supposed to be doing, and just pick up the ball and run with it. So hat tip, Heather, great job.
It was a lot of fun to
running the ship.
Yeah, so. A lot of fun to see when people step up like that, though, right? Everyone working together. So
yep, it was really, really cool. And seriously, a lot of people say, "Hey, I got back and the ship didn't burn down." Well, my ship was at a completely different port, and it was at the next port it was supposed to be at. It was it didn't just sit there. It got better. We just kept going. That's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, good point.
Well, so while I was gone, I did reflect on a few things because something amazing happens when you go visit other cultures, and I love history. So, visiting historical places, I really enjoy that. Bobby Joe and I really love Europe. It's so old. We think, we talk about here in Charleston, it's old. And this is there's nothing in America that's old because there's not.
That's true.
Nothing here is old.
That's true.
Over there, there's old stuff, like really old. And we stood in many places that existed before Christ. And I mean, you're talking about, a couple thousand
Yeah.
years.
I mean, you just
And
showed me photos and it blew my mind. Like how does something stay preserved for that long? It's pretty amazing.
it really is truly remarkable. So it's no secret. I think on the show I've talked about several times. We love Italy. We love Europe. We've been some places this time that we've never been. So we've flown into Amsterdam. My wife has been there. That was BR. So there's BC. That's before Christ. BR is before Ron.
Oh,
So
I was like, what?
Bobby Joe BR went to Amsterdam. And she has cool stories, which I won't tell from Amsterdam. I mean, ultimately, they're not cool because they were, scary for her. But we didn't have any of those this time. This time we went to Amsterdam. It was really fun. We learned a lot. Saw some really cool places. Amsterdam is built like Venice, which I didn't know.
Yeah, I did not know that either.
Yeah, they drove all of these wood pilings into the ground and they built on top of them. Pretty amazing because it's marshland. And that's why it has canals and stuff through it, and it's all man-made.
Do they have to reinforce those over time? I mean, it's like wood in water.
They actually have. So interestingly enough, when I was in Venice before COVID, I asked them about what's happening because Venice is sinking, and because of that, the water is now coming into the city, right? And they said there's nothing they can do about it because if they break the seal, oxygen gets into where the wood is, and then it rots the wood, which makes the problem worse.
Huh.
In Amsterdam, because it's not tidal and a couple of other things that I can't remember, they actually have gone in there and firmed up these houses. You can see these houses are just like, you imagine a row home, right? That's joined together. Well, these row homes have like fanned out. They've just kind of at the top started, both sides are falling in, and then they're still that way.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird too, right? They're still that way. They've gone in and put concrete in there and firmed them up, so they're not going to move anymore. But the guy said that they actually like cut the legs off the table on one side so that it can be straight.
What?
So bizarre.
Wow.
So bizarre. Anyway.
Wow. Small feat.
In each of the places we went, I learned some things that are, well, I guess I had some takeaways.
Yeah, I'm excited.
In Amsterdam, everybody knows in Amsterdam, pot is legal, right? So you can go buy it and then you can smoke it. But they do have some weird laws surrounding this, which are kind of stupid. Now, you can't walk down the street in Amsterdam without smelling pot. It's literally everywhere. Yeah, and it's not lovely smelling, as everybody knows. So it's all over the place. It's also really interesting how many people in Europe smoke still. That was an interesting thing. Now that we know that basically smoking will kill you and it will kill you early, I'm a little shocked that people still smoke.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me.
I don't care. I mean, it doesn't bother me. Go ahead and smoke. I mean, they don't smoke inside, so it's fine. I don't really care. It's just remarkable to me that people do that still. And they do. And so there's cigarette smoke mixed with pot. I'm going to get the numbers wrong. Somebody's going to be like, that's not exactly right, Phillips. Okay, well, I might get the numbers wrong, but the point is the same, right? So you can have on your person like half an ounce or something, okay?
Huh.
So no one is allowed to have more than that on themselves. For personal use, for any reason, no one person can have more than that.
Interesting.
In the shops, they're only allowed to have, in the coffee shops is where the pot is sold, which is also interesting.
Yeah.
So you go in and the shops are only allowed to have 500 grams, I think, which is not a ton.
Huh.
Okay. So I asked the tour guide, I'm like, well, if nobody's allowed to carry or transport more than half an ounce, how do you get 500 grams into the stores? And he started busting up laughing. He goes, right? He said, it's still this black market thing over here because you are not allowed to carry enough to stock the stores, yet the stores are always stocked. He said, I'm just like, this is... So for those of you who watch the news, I try really hard not to be one of them. But for anybody who watches the news, the next time you think, man, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, that's government. It doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
They make ridiculously stupid laws.
That is so funny.
It's the dumbest thing ever. It's just the dumbest thing ever. Okay. All right.
So
next
funny.
lesson in Amsterdam. So we're on a canal tour, and we come into this area, which is one of the most expensive like canal rows of homes. The homes are much larger. Like 3 or 4 row homes is one home, and they're quite big. And now they're not homes anymore. They used to be homes of the very wealthy from Amsterdam, but now they're businesses. They're headquarters for businesses. And I was like, wow, that's weird. And he goes, yeah, and there's U2. U2 used to have theirs there. They sold it to this other person. Like a whole bunch of famous people that we here in America would know have their headquarters there. And why would you assume that people would put their headquarters in Amsterdam, Heather?
I have no idea.
Why in the world would a business headquarter somewhere? Especially a business that's owned and run by Bono. Mr., everything has to be fair and rich people are horrible unless they give all of their money to the government. And, we should change the tax code all of that. And he chose to put his company headquarters there because tax reasons. Yeah. So that he can get over on paying taxes. So there's this huge long row of hypocrites. And I've said this, Heather, we talked about this on the show. I don't know how many times. All of these rich people who yak about talking, down to people who like the tax code the way that it is because you can, because there's loopholes. Well, there's a whole bunch of them over
fascinating
in Amsterdam on the richest part of the canals. And the only reason they have a headquarters there is because of tax benefits. And there you have it, folks. Amsterdam in a nutshell. It's a beautiful place. Awesome food. I experienced for the first time. I know everybody's going to laugh because, Ron's old and he's never tried, on his own, like really good Indian food.
Oh, really?
It was amazing.
Yeah, Indian
we went
food
back 2 nights in a row. It was unreal. The owner is a really, really cool guy. He came and talked to us both nights. And hooked my wife up. My wife has celiac disease, so he made sure that everything was done right. Food was so good. It was amazing.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really, really good. From there, we went and met my parents in Italy, and we took my parents all over Italy. What an amazing time! I'll say that making memories with family is something everybody should stop and just do. Second trip we've taken my parents on and absolutely loved it. We went and did a whole bunch of things we've done 4 times before. Like this, we've seen everything that we went to see, we've seen before. But we saw it differently because they were there for the first time and we got to hang out with them. And it was so much fun.
Wow. That is cool because if you love something and experiencing it with someone else, because it was their first time, right?
Yes. Really? Yeah. First time. And, my dad loves history. And my mom, she loves seeing the structures and, and hearing about all the people over there. My dad's always wanted to go to Pompeii. We went to Pompeii. I showed Heather some of the dirty pictures from Pompeii, which was funny.
Yeah. Pictures that survived. And
so if you guys don't know, Pompeii was covered with ash by the by the volcano,
Mm-hmm.
Mount Vesuvius, and it was completely preserved.
Hmm.
So there's frescoes from before Christ that are, I mean, they're almost perfect.
Kind of crazy to see what people's walls of their houses looked like that long ago.
Yeah.
And that yeah, it's pretty wild.
I mean, it's really, really interesting because anyway, I could get lost in Italy. We could do several podcasts in a row just about Italy and what I love about Italy. But Pompeii was really, really cool. There's just history all over Italy and really, really old. I love Rome. It's fantastic. I mean, it's amazing. But here's something new that I learned.
Ooh.
This is so cool. Now, I have been in Palazzo Vecchio 4 times. That is the Medici Palace in Florence. And this is the old, so Vecchio means old. So this is the old palace. This is the palace that the chick that Commodus married, she was royalty, and the old palace was just not good enough. So that's why there's old palace, because she built a new palace on the other side of the river. And then because they didn't want to walk around with the plebes, they actually built their own walking path above the Merchants Bridge, all the way from the old palace to the new palace, which is not a short trip.
Wow.
So that they could walk covered with nobody seeing them all the way over to the other palace.
Huh.
So pretty hoity-toity people. The Medici were very rich. They were bankers, and they were incredibly powerful in Florence and all over Italy. Well, all over the Roman Empire. They were very, very notable people. This was the really cool piece. So I go in there, and we have a different tour guide than we've ever had before. And this tour guide points out this thing on the floor and says, it's a turtle with a sail. And I'm like, well, that's a pretty weird thing. Like, explain the turtle with the sail.
Ever heard of that before? Yes.
Right. I mean, who puts a turtle? Who puts a sail on a turtle? I mean, they did put some weird artwork on the walls back in the days, but this one was strange. And this turtle, she said, this turtle with the sail is all over the place. Their crest is all over the place in there, and then Commodus's head, like his face, is in artwork all over the place too. And the guy
he liked himself.
Humble. Yeah, he's a humble guy. The turtle with the sail, this one hit me really good because we did a show very recently, I can't remember how long ago, about the disciplined hare.
Yeah.
So the story of the tortoise and the hare, I don't think it was around back then, but the point of this is, she said, well, this was one of his, it's not a crest, but this is one of his things that he put. It's all over the place because he was the turtle with the sail, meaning I am an immovable, just going forward turtle, right? The tortoise story. But he's like, that's not good enough. I'm a fast turtle. So he put it, so it's kind of the opposite of what I was saying. It's basically the same thing from the other point of view. I'm a turtle, except for I put a sail on me, and now I'm faster than everybody else.
It's pretty, and like rooted and, yes, has the structure and all that stuff.
I was just like, I was blown away. I took a picture of the floor. Nobody else is taking a picture. I'm taking a picture of this really, really old, like tiled floor with a picture of a turtle with a sail on it. And as I'm like, this is exactly what I've been saying right here. And Mr. Rich Medici guy, that was his symbol. So turtle with a sail.
That's cool. That's very cool.
I may have to put like muscled up rabbits all over my gym or something. I don't know. All right. So really, really cool. Tons of other really cool things in Italy. And I'll tell you, before you go places, you should just tell all of your friends that you're going. Because everybody knows somebody everywhere else. And some friends of ours, Heather, Neil and Donnell, told me about a friend. And Donnell has a friend over in Florence who owns a leather store. Unbelievable products. So we went there and we had to buy another suitcase to bring back our shoes that we bought. Really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Donnell. for that. Anyway,
That's why you told me you bought shoes, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
yeah, it was. They're amazing. They're like they feel like you just put butter all over your feet. You're walking around, and it's awesome.
Oh wow, that's awesome. I love that.
Then we went to Scotland, which was the first time we've ever been there before. Scotland was awesome. It was probably our favorite place in this round that we went. I left Italy. We got to Scotland, and it's this city. We went to Edinburgh, and the city. We stayed right by the old part of the city, and it was so cool. It's kind of built in the Gothic era, and it's just completely different than anything else I've seen before. It was really cool. And it literally looked like you stepped into the Harry Potter movie set. That's what it looks like over there. And interestingly enough, she lives there. We drove by her house. And so she got a lot of the inspiration for the book from Edinburgh. And it's clear that she did, because it looks like it all over the place.
Yeah.
That's kind of when it hit me that, tearing down history is a really stupid idea. I mean, it's just a stupid idea.
Yeah.
So this new American phenomenon about just ripping history down, whether it's good or bad, is the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah. Lessons from the past, always.
You think about it, we just left Italy, where over and over again people tore down history. It's just so sad. But they've uncovered so much of it, and like Nero's palace. Everybody hated Nero, hated him for good reason. He was a horrible person.
Yeah.
But his palace was amazing, and the history and the lessons that you can learn from that place is pretty cool. Having statues of people that did horrible things. All I think it does is remind us that those people did horrible things, and we don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
You tear down all of that history, it eliminates it.
It's true.
But it doesn't eliminate what they did. It just eliminates the reminder that we don't want to do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Because Scotland just felt intact. I guess Edinburgh, because it's not as old as Rome, it felt intact to me. And I was thinking, man, our hotel we stayed in was a church. It's an old church, and they had converted it into a hotel, a really nice hotel, but it was old. There's this old mixed with the new, and the old section is maintained, and they're proud of it. And when you take the tours, you hear the stories of the horrible things that happened from certain people. But they didn't tear down the stuff. They tell the stories of the horrible atrocities that the person committed, right?
Yeah.
That's what they do. And they keep the history so they can tell the stories. So that's the lesson that I learned from Scotland. Everybody should go there. It's very, very cool. Scottish porridge is amazing.
Yeah, it's true. I saw that Bobby Joe had said that, and I guess I've never had porridge before.
It's supposed to come today. We're supposed to have it. So we're probably having porridge today. Last place we went was Ireland, and Ireland was really cool. Not as cool. Like Dublin is a modern town. It just doesn't. There's not a whole lot of old in Dublin. Very cool city. We went out into the country and stayed in a castle, and that's pretty much what we did. We stayed at a castle and shot clay pigeons and flew falcons and did all this cool stuff.
So cool.
And by the way, Bobby Joe is a crack shot at the clay pigeons. Really? She hit her first two that she ever shot.
What?
We had a competition. She beat me.
Wow.
She's good.
Go Bobby Joe.
First time. First time, yeah.
That's awesome.
So don't take her if you want to win clay pigeon shooting. That's not going to happen. My big takeaway from Ireland was the churches. We're doing a tour, walking around Dublin, And I'm asking what these buildings are, and he's like, "Oh, that's an abandoned Anglican church." I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right."
Interesting.
"Oh, that's an abandoned Catholic church. That's an abandoned Protestant church, and
Abandoned.
empty, just sitting there.
Wow.
These gorgeous old buildings just sitting there." And I was like, "So nobody goes to church?" He goes, "Nah, nobody goes to church."
Really?
I said, "Like," I said, "Like, nobody goes to church?" He goes, No. I think like maybe 20% of the population like goes to
Whoa.
church." And I was like,
Whoa.
"Wow, 20%." He goes, "Oh yeah, like all these churches are empty. They can't afford to keep them open. There's because nobody goes." I was like, "Wow,
Wow.
okay." Um, Nobody goes to church. That's pretty amazing to me.
Yeah.
Like I know that like general church attendance is down. He said, "Yeah, it's because all the stuff that happened with the Catholic Church,
Mm.
with the priests and everything." And I said, "Yeah, but you just told me that nobody goes to the Protestant Church.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to nobody goes to any of the church."
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, nobody goes to any of them." I said, "So it can't be because of whatever happened with the
Yeah.
Catholic priests." He made that up. He
Yeah.
doesn't know that's why. But no, people don't go to church.
Huh.
I was floored. I was absolutely floored. There's all of these because in Italy there's basilicas all over the place,
Yeah.
and they're all operating.
Yeah.
So you can go in and look at them. But when they have mass, they're having mass,
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of people in there. Yeah, it's a little shocking.
Hmm.
So my big huge takeaway, other than that, no one should own an Irish Wolfhound because they're way too big and they will kill literally anything that they can chase. Other than that, this was my big takeaway: is holy cow,
Yeah.
nobody over there goes to church. So I saw a post the other day. It said that people aren't going to church because they've had bad run-ins with religious people or something to that nature. And then the next phrase it said, "So did Jesus."
Yeah. Yeah.
They actually killed him.
Yeah.
But he's the like if you're a Christian, he's the reason you go to church.
Yep.
Not for the religious people
Yeah.
that say one thing and do another thing. That's not the purpose. That's not the point. And it was kind of sad to me that got lost in Ireland, and I think in Scotland too. We were staying in a church, and they said that they were just repurposing all the old churches into other things. Which, boy, that's in my opinion. You can disagree with me, but in my opinion, that's a sad thing.
Yeah. Very sad
to see happen. So.
Man.
And then that kind of concluded our trip, Heather. I took up an entire show talking about that trip, but I can tell you the one really cool thing about Dublin, Ireland, is that you can clear customs in Ireland.
Yeah, that is very cool.
And Bobby Joe, she leaned over and she goes, "I don't know about you, but every time I clear customs, I get really proud."
Mm.
And I kind of got choked up a little bit. I just kind of got choked up just now. America is such an amazing place. I go visit other places. I love other countries. I love other cultures. But man, there is nothing like America anywhere. Yeah. I've lived a lot of places in the world. There is no other country like America.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And I felt that before, and now that you say that, right, of following the signs for like U.S. citizens and being like, man, I am so lucky. I'm so lucky, especially with all the things going on in the world with wars and, innocent people being killed in their countries and feeling unsafe in their own countries. Like, we're so lucky.
Yeah. And, you can say what you will about America and about our guns. One of the things they talked about over there, our tour guide, he's like, it's safe. And I did feel really safe in Scotland and in Ireland, like very safe. He goes, "Yeah, nobody's going to get shot here. There's no guns allowed." And I thought to myself, how many times have wars come to Scotland and Ireland and y'all lost?
Yeah.
And there's the reason. And I kind of felt, I actually, I've made no bones about how I feel about guns on the show, not to get political, but
yeah,
there's a difference. You can't invade America. We will kill you.
Yeah. Our citizens.
We will kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We will just band together and kill you. So not going to happen. And I don't want to live in a country where, anybody can invade because no one is armed except for, a small little tiny force that can't protect itself.
Exactly.
So that wasn't, I appreciated being safe, but there's not very many places that I feel unsafe in America. And I can just avoid those places. So, man, I'll only say one more thing about America, and that is that no one is risking death to enter any of the countries that we visited. They're all very cool countries. I would, Bobby Joe and I've talked about living over in Europe for a few months just to hang out over there and live as the Europeans live and just become, part of their culture for a little while. But not one of the countries we visited are people literally risking death to get into those countries, to have a shot at becoming one of them.
Yeah.
And that happens every single day in America. So be proud that you are able to live here, and be vocally proud. I think it's time to be vocally proud that we live in America. America's a great place.
I love
We
that.
have our faults, but doesn't every place?
Yeah, exactly.
Have its faults?
Yeah. No, we're not looking for perfection.
Yeah. Be a turtle with a sail, people. Be a turtle with a sail. Oh, how cool is that? Other than that, Medici was kind of a degenerate loser. Don't emulate anything else about that guy or that family. But the turtle with a sail thing is really good. Really good. Pretty much everything else should probably just leave that alone. Oof, rough family there. Telling you. All right, everybody.
I love that. Thank you, Ron, for sharing all of that. That was awesome.
Until next time, get out there and make something happen.
This has been the Get Real Podcast. To subscribe and for more information, including a list of all episodes, go to getrealestatesuccess.com.